So we're going to look at how to set up a metered connection in Windows 10. If I click on the Start button and go to Settings, as it's to do with network and the internet, we're going to go straight into that option, which is the fourth option. And I've got an example network set up here. Now, for example, you might be hotspotting from your phone, or you might be limited on your data plan by your provider. And what you really want to do is, at the moment, by default, because I've used 1 megabyte on this connection so far, but by default Windows will just keep consuming and consuming data. And now that there is things like cloud storage apps like OneDrive in the background, you can consume your whole data plan in a matter of hours, in some cases, if not days, and end up with a huge bill. But there is a way to prevent that in Windows. So if you click on data usage, you can see some of the apps that are using data. Now, OneDrive can typically use, depending on how much you're using it, 10, 20, 30, 40 gigabytes a month. So it's important that we let Windows know if it's a metered connection. So the first thing that we want to do is go into the properties of this Wi-Fi network. And if you scroll down past the settings to automatically connect in the network profile, scroll past random network addresses, you'll come up to metered connection, which says if you have a limited data plan and want more control over your data usage, make this connection a metered network, which essentially tells Windows that you've only got so much data to use. Some apps might work differently to reduce data usage when they're connected to this network, and all that you have to do to set a metered connection in Windows is simply click on the radio button and set it to on. However, although that has now told Windows you're on the metered connection, don't forget that you should actually set a data limit that matches your provider's data limit to ensure that you get warnings when it's approaching that limit and when you're over that limit, to avoid any unnecessary bills. So if we click on set a data limit to help control usage on this network, it rather unhelpfully just takes us back to the network status page. What we can do there, though, is go on to data usage again. As you can see, it's already gone up to 2 megabytes now. And if we enter the limit, so unlimited is essentially setting it to what is an unmetered connection. Most will be on the monthly data limit. So, for example, if you're hotspotting off your phone, you can set it to reset every month. It's usually measured in gigabytes these days, but if you've got a 2 gigabyte limit from your provider, you simply put 2 in the data limit, make sure unit is set to GB, and click save. And what this will do is it will make sure that Windows warns you as you're approaching that limit. And when you come into here, you can see that it's showing us 1 megabyte used, 2 gigabytes remaining, and that it's going to reset on the 1st of June 2022. If you sometimes use your phone to hotspot, but at other times you use your normal connection, broadband connection at home, that's absolutely fine, because don't forget that this data limit actually only applies to this Wi-Fi connection. If I connect to another network, for example my home network, then this data limit won't apply. So it's quite handy because you don't have to keep adding and removing the limit. You can simply leave it on that connection, which in this case is my hotspotted connection to my phone, 2 gigabyte limit, and I will get warnings when it goes up to that limit. Now I'm going to press remove on that limit, which will reset it to back what it was. So if you want no limit again, you can do that. And if we go back and go on to properties, you might wonder then, what's the point in setting the metered connection but not setting a limit at all? Well, by simply switching the switch to on, you will tell applications that you're on a metered connection, and some applications will suspend some of the normal activities on this network. So for example, just by simply switching the switch on, OneDrive will inform you that it's not going to sync whilst you're on the metered connection. OneDrive does typically consume a lot of data, and therefore it would be really important on a metered connection that it doesn't use it at all. The best way, though, is to set the meter connection to on, and then to ensure that you get the warnings, make sure you remember to go into your network, and make sure when you scroll down you do set the data limit, press on data usage and enter your limit to ensure that you don't go over it.